A 3-year-old girl from BC is in hospital after a bear attack in Maple Ridge yesterday. Authorities say the attack happened just outside the girl's home while she was playing on her family's backyard deck. A parent was able to chase the bear away. The girl has non-life-altering injuries, but she was taken to hospital by air ambulance out of caution. RCMP say officers encountered the bear after the incident and shot it to protect public safety. The bear was hit but managed to flee, and authorities are now trying to track it. So, what could cause a bear to attack? Let's bring in Kim Titchener in Calgary. She is a bear safety expert and the founder of Bear Safety and More. Thank you for taking the time, Kim. Bear attacks are considered rare, but we've now seen several serious encounters in a short period of time, including one that was fatal. What do you make of what we're seeing?
Well, unfortunately, as there's more human beings on the planet, we're going to see more attacks on the landscape as there's more of us doing more outdoor recreation, more of us working in these environments where these animals live, and also building our homes in areas where they've inhabited. And with things like attractants, like garbage, it's going to draw these animals into our neighborhoods, which of course can make them very unsafe for people that are out, including, of course, children playing in their yard.
And in the case of the 3-year-old girl who was attacked on the deck of her family's home, what would bring a bear that close to a house?
So unfortunately, many communities such as Maple Ridge, they do not have bear-resistant garbage bins, policies around bird feeders, hummingbird feeders, compost. So often these bears are just moving through these areas, adjacent trail systems or waterways. And as they walk through these areas, unfortunately, they get drawn in. They see dandelions in someone's yard or berry bushes, or someone's got a crabapple tree. And the next thing you know, they're getting into human food and garbage. And then this leads them to start becoming what we call food conditioned, where they can then be attracted to areas where people are and start to associate them as areas to gain access to some of these unnatural foods. And unfortunately, this can lead to, in some cases, predatory behavior. In this incident, it does seem as though this animal was seeking out and approached this child. There was not a defensive encounter. The child was just playing in their yard. So very unfortunate, and a wake-up call to communities and the importance of having, a Bear Smart community program, getting rid of these attractants around our communities.
Is that why the bear kept coming back? Because that, I don't even know, is that normal behavior? Because the police say that's what the bear kept doing.
It can be, for sure. Unfortunately, in some attacks, if an animal does, perceive a person as a threat or as a potential food source, they may keep returning to that site, which is quite possible in this case. And when we look at large carnivore attacks, one of the major causes of them is when children are left unsupervised, and children, of course, are small, they're vulnerable, and they can pose, as a potential food source for a bear or a cougar walking by, potentially seeing them as alone and vulnerable, for sure.
So you've talked about proximity in terms of where people now live closer to where bears are, or vice versa, and food sources. But are there other causes of the bear sightings that we're seeing in residential areas like Maple Ridge?
Well, one of the big ones that we're seeing, particularly in British Columbia, I've seen a lot of them this year in the last few years, is people go take their dog for a walk, even just down there, like the back alley behind their homes, and their dogs are usually off leash. They're just going for, an evening walk to get their dog out, and they'll surprise a bear by accident. And the bear, will have cubs. They'll get defensive when they see the dog, and then they end up chasing the dog, and then of course often that dog then runs back to the owner, and then the bear perceives the people as a threat. And these bears are getting drawn into these communities because of these attractants, and then we're seeing more of these interactions. As many of us have dogs, right? And we often go for a walk after dinner, and so that's another one that's a conflict for sure. The other two cases that happened just recently this week involving people who were attacked in British Columbia involved defensive female grizzly bears, where people were out hiking by themselves, may not have had their bear bear spray handy. So when you are going to go out and recreate, have that bear spray on you, make noise, travel in groups, because you don't want to surprise a bear at close range because they can get defensive.
So you just mentioned a couple tips there, but beyond that, what can our viewers do to avoid bear encounters if they're going to want to take their dogs for walks or grow a crabapple tree in their yard or have a berry bush? What can they do?
Yeah, so for around our own residence, around our homes, we need to address those attractants. So don't have bird feeders, don't have hummingbird feeders, and do not leave food or garbage outside. Do not feed your dog outside. If you do have crabapple trees and fruit-bearing shrubs, try and pull that fruit pretty quickly so you don't attract a bear into your yard or other species. And then when it comes to, if you have your children playing outside, always supervise them. I keep a can of bear spray and a big stick at the back door. Talk to your kids about, what are we going to do if a coyote or a bear walks into the yard? We're going to slowly back away, go inside, call for a parent. If you're going to be going out for a walk, always keep your dog on a leash. Try to grow with a group of people. If you're going to go head out into more backcountry environments, getting out onto the trails, making noise every couple minutes as you're walking, let out some hoops and hollers to let these bears know you're human, that you're coming in their direction, and keep that dog on a leash. Watch for signs of bear activity such as scat tracks. If you see a bear, you're going to take a deep breath, pull out that bear spray, get that safety off, and slowly start to back away, giving that animal space, letting them know you're not trying to threaten them. So there are a lot of things we can do to avoid encounters, and people do it every day when they head out into bear country. But it is really key. And same thing with our communities is, working with government to try to ensure the safety of our communities. Everyone deserves to be able to go out in their backyard and not have, have something like this happen. And communities like Maple Ridge really need to step up and start getting some bear-resistant garbage bins.
Okay, well, thank you very much. That was bear safety expert Kim Titchener.